Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. This is Digital Evolution, an entrepreneur's guide to evolving online. I'm super excited because I'm talking with Brandy Lawson from Fiery FX today about my Facebook groups that are evolving online. That's what we're talking about. So basically, if you haven't been tuning in, what Brandy and I have been doing is kind of going through my own personal digital evolution with my businesses online and using me as a guinea pig example to kind of, I don't know, spawn some things to think about for you. So I know your business absolutely is going through a transition, especially given the COVID crisis. I mean, it's just, there's no way that your business is not evolving right now. So it would have been evolving anyway, quite frankly, but it's evolving faster and real time, given the changes in technology and the fact that we're all working, for the most part, remotely from home. So good morning, Brandy. How are you?
I love your morning.
Hat. I like my hat too, do you?
I know, it's super, yours is super blingy. I love it.
You know where I got it? Last weekend, I rode my motorcycle up to the Horseshoe Cafe in Wickenburg, which if you haven't been there, please do go and tell my friend Deb. She's a little tiny peanut. You can't miss her because she's a little tiny peanut. She has a daughter who's an equal tiny peanut, but she's younger. So the older tiny peanut, you want to, no offense, Deb, but you are older than your daughter. It's just kind of the way it goes. But, you know, say hello and tell her that Michelle and Relentless Talk Radio sent you. But she had two hats. And so my friend Rebecca got one and I got the other one. I got the blingier one. She has some bling too. Isn't that cool? And they're brown, which I really kind of like. I like the weather.
Nice.
Yeah. But what do you got going on? What are you wearing?
I got lucky. Yeah. I like the color of this and like, yeah, the brown bell. I like it.
That's awesome. And you know what? I love that you moved your flowers. Pre-interview, we were talking about the background and I said, oh, move your flowers to the left so we can see and ignite your influence. I love that tagline. Fiery FX, ignite your influence is so smart. Love it. So, all right, fearless leader, you know, guide me in my evolution. What are we talking about today?
So we are talking about particularly Facebook groups, because last week we talked about Facebook pages and profiles, and we're not done talking about Facebook yet because it's one of your primary channels for Choose Healthy Change. And so now we're going to talk specifically about groups, because even though this is all under the Facebook umbrella, each one of these different ways of interacting on Facebook has a different role when it comes to your marketing. And so groups specifically, I think, just going to digress for 1 second about groups, because Facebook groups in the early days, like 3 years ago, people were like, I don't know what it's for. And honestly, 7 years ago, 8 years ago now, when we were expecting our son, I created a private Facebook group for just friends and family because I wanted to talk about this expecting, but I was at that time looking for a job. And so I didn't really want everyone to know about my state of the state. So groups had I think they were originally founded sort of around that idea, but then people figured out, oh, we can create spaces to talk about particular topics and really get support and start to build community around things. And that's really, I think, where we're at today with
I
Facebook
love
groups.
when you say community. Like, hello, that's the point. That's the
yes. But, and then it is now not the only vehicle for building community. So when we're talking about Facebook groups, particularly in your marketing, if listeners out there, if your primary channel isn't Facebook, that's okay. This still applies to you. This is really just about the vehicle where you're building your community. So I know people that are doing still LinkedIn groups. That's still a thing. Some people have moved to Slack groups. Some people are using a new thing called Mighty Networks for their groups. So there's different places. And even some people are bringing this into their own website and using plugins for WordPress, or like what used to be a bulletin board became a forum. And like there's ways to have these build these community spaces on your own space, but wherever you're doing it.
So hang on for a second. You said two things I want to make sure I got it.
Oh, so, sure.
The first one that you talked about was Mighty something.
Mighty Networks. So Mighty Networks is a new app that's sort of the answer to people having issues with Facebook privacy policy. Also, people having communities that are exiting Facebook. Because wherever you choose to build your community, make sure your
Good
people
point.
are already hanging out there.
Right. Good point. Because there are some people, like you said last week, that are exiting Facebook because of Facebook's little bit, as far as they're concerned, slack, hate language crap on.
Well, and some people are exiting for privacy concerns. Some people are exiting because they don't like the role that Facebook's playing in their life. Like everybody has their own reason.
100%,
But
100%. In fact, I think it's just something to think about, because if you're really getting to the point where you're wanting to not personally be on Facebook, because what's interesting about Facebook is you get dragged into the personal bog along with the business bog, right? So and there's bogs that sometimes you don't want to be in that bog, right? So I get it. The WordPress application that you said it kind of quick. So let's see.
Oh, so on WordPress, and I was trying to think if there's any other platforms off the top of my head that have this functionality yet, but typically the functionality is called a forum.
Yeah.
Now, originally forums were just that, like people would come on and post a question and then get an answer. Like I know of some like music forums that date back several decades, but the modern use of what used to be either a bulletin board or a forum is now basically kind of how Facebook is doing groups. That type of functionality can be on your website. So you can create your own place on your own website for your community.
Which is different than your blog, because your blog is public. And honestly, I've stopped doing all blog comments at all. And the reason why, for me, is I don't want to manage the spam.
Yeah.
My Fearlessly Deliver site that I leave up for the legacy work that I did from 2015 to 2019, I've turned off comments on each individual post. I've turned off comments on in the template completely, and somehow I'm still getting spam comments, which make no sense to me, but I know if I actually were to accept them, they would infect my site. So I don't have time to manage the spamness, or I don't want to pay for a spam filter either. So I have to figure that out, but the blog thing is a public place where it's in public, which is like your Facebook page is public.
Right.
As far as your business page. So a group or a forum is more of a private space where you can talk to people that are interested in your particular thing, whether it's giving birth or it's diet and exercise or whatever the heck it is. So
jazz music, like there's so many things. And this when determining what platform to use, think about where your people are already at. Now, when building something on your own site, there's some benefits in that you totally control it. People wouldn't have privacy issues with the privacy, because you would tell, you're not going to sell their information, you're not going to share their information. But it is one different place for them to go. So what I have seen with people that have tried this is that they just don't get as much engagement unless the community kind of already has a big momentum, a big life of its own, or if it was built there originally. So just, when you are making choices, really think about your audience and think what best serves them.
I really think you bring up a good point there about momentum. I think sometimes we want things to be different. We have a view about Facebook one way or the other, or Instagram one way or the other, or our people one way or the other, and we want to convince them to be one way or the other. But the reality is you have to deal with reality. And for me, my avatar is on Facebook, because my avatar is somebody like me. In their 50s, used to be an athlete, maybe not. Maybe they wanted to be an athlete. Maybe they admire athletes, okay? But at some point or another, they have gone astray and put on a couple pounds. And also their headspace has got screwy. So a lot of my people are on Facebook because my demographic is on Facebook. So if you don't know first of all, you have to go back for where we were talking about early on, and also where you look at the video lab too, because Scotty Yang and I talked about this in the video lab, is understanding who your avatar is. Like when we're talking about groups, you might have to actually go back several steps and say, who the hell is it that I'm prospecting to? And I love when I ask this question of people that are new in sales, and I say to them, who's your ideal client? And they go, well, anybody, like I would ask a hairdresser, anybody with hair? No, that's not true. That's not true. Anybody with hair is not your client. There's everybody has
certainly not your ideal client.
Right. So like you can't be everything to everybody, and nor do you want to be. So who your ideal client, you have to really dig into that topic and say, okay, I just recently had a friend who's launching a new business, and I asked him, who's your ideal client? Where do they hang out? And he said, well, I'm posting, on Facebook. I'm like, well, yeah, but is your ideal client there? Like, how are you engaging with your ideal client? Because you can't just like throw up a random post and expect your ideal client to go, oh, there's my guy or there's my girl, right? You have to really engage with your client so that they get to like, know, and trust you. So when they're ready to buy a house, get a haircut, get in shape, advertise on the radio, do some social media marketing, they go, you know what? That Brandy Lawson, man, I've been watching her, and I love when she had her kids and she went on her trip, and she shared it, and I love her outfits, and that stuff that she shares on LinkedIn is so cool. I'm gonna reach out to her. So the prospecting is not like, hi, here's my widget, you want to buy it? That's not how it works. You have to build relationships, and that means, okay, people, listen to this. You have to really like people, which means that you have to understand who your avatar is and engage with them, like sincerely, not because you want to sell your widget, because you actually care about those people. So if you're not of that mindset, then you might, and if sales is your gig, you might want to rethink that. So, I mean, like, sometimes we're talking about groups, like, Michelle, what are you talking about? I don't like people. That's the point of having a group, whether you do it on Facebook or whatever, is to engage with your people, to create relationships with them and build community. Yeah?
Yes. So that kind of brings it back around, that's why community is part of overall marketing strategies now, because we can solve problems and we can bring people together and help them solve problems. But what people really love is to be seen by other people who understand them and who understand where they're at. And that is the power of community.
Such a weird, awful, and wonderful time at the same time. Because we used to build community by going to a chamber mixer or going and being face-to-face. That was how we did it. Went to a barbecue, But now with technology, this digital evolution is more important than ever, because you have to find a way to connect with people where you're not breathing air with them, that's really what's happening right now. So this is such an important topic. Yep. All right, so the changes that are happening in Facebook groups that align with my strategy. So let's talk about that.
Yes. So we've determined that you have Facebook groups. We've been using your Choose Healthy Change brand as sort of our little example as we're following along. And so give us like the high level overview of the existing groups you have. And then let's talk about like what you've decided needs to change, or like, does everything stay the same? Does some of your group change? Like, what needs to happen to evolve this particular channel into fitting where you're going?
Well, backing up a little bit, as I've been developing groups, I thought, you know what, I really need to fine-tune my mission a little bit. And I think this is about me getting all into where I know my revenue is coming from and where I really want to build relationships. So building community and relationships is good. I have to really meet people who want to do their best. So I'm like, well, I really have to drill down, because now I'm really getting very specific at this stage, which is another thing. If you've had a very specific role in the past, slowly people towards your new space. So initially my mission was to lift up and encourage people to discover their best. But when I started to think about my groups and where I want to build community, now my mission is to lift up and encourage others to discover their better health, pure joy, and empowered abundance. So I added health, better health, pure joy, and empowered abundance. And the reason why I added an adjective to each one of those things is because I wanted people to really get that I was about better, pure, and empowered. So that, having that in my mind, makes me look at my avatar a little differently, and makes me think about my groups and how I'm going to build my community a little differently. So right now, with the groups that I have that are fitness, Relentless, a Relentless Radio Health and Fitness group. That's a general, anybody that's trainers and health professionals that come on Relentless Talk Radio. It's a general educational group for people that are generally interested in health and fitness. It's not a prospecting group. It's not a place where I sell anything. It's just a place where I educate, build relationships. Both my avatar, who is a client, who is a person, and my avatar that is a trainer or a health professional. So I have two avatars. One is the end user, who is a health person who's interested in bettering their health, getting pure joy, and having empowered abundance. And then there's the health professional who is interested in the giving better health, providing pure joy, and having empowered abundance for themselves and their business, right? So that group is just about relationship building and education. Now, Choose Healthy Change is where my partner and I are partnering to talk about particular products and particular solutions as it revolves around nutrition. So in that page, I have two groups. One is Choose Healthy Change, which is the group where people that want to drill down a little deeper and get a little more inspired, who have come on board, that are using the products, that are wanting to change your life in a specific way, they're in that group. And then there's the Choose Healthy Change Pro group, which is those people who are wanting to gather abundance by coming on board Team Builder. So that's my current thing. Now, just this week, I decided that so many people are training and training tips and what honestly can't afford me. I literally have saying, hey, can you train me for free? And I'm thinking, God, I wish I could. I wish I could train you for free, but I can't. And it's not, I'm evolving in that area too, where it's not one-on-one, us potentially with COVID. I am also evolving in that area. So I'm going to be doing 4 challenges that are 4 weeks long between now and Christmas. And I haven't figured out what the names of them are going to be. And you're going to help me figure out how I'm going to structure the groups today. Because I could put the group in Relentless Talk Radio and have a general group, and then have Choose Healthy Change be a host of that group. Or I could put it in Choose Healthy Change and have Relentless Talk Radio be a host. Or I could group under my personal, which I would do. But I wanted your opinion on this, because this group is going to be about health and fitness, and it's going to be general. It's also going to be a place where I can educate people about my nutrition partner and those solutions. So I don't want to infiltrate the safety of my Relentless Talk Radio Health and Fitness group, which is not about selling, not about prospecting. It's just about relationship building and just about offering information and creating community with people generally. At the same time, I've got some people in there that want more service, and I want to be able to provide that for them. So I wanted to ask your opinion on how I should move forward.
Well, for me, it's clear that those things belong under your Choose Healthy Change. Now, and this also brings up a good point about our groups forever. So I think that each one of these is a temporary group. So the group gets set up a week before the challenge. It runs for the 4 weeks, and then it gets closed. So that, because what this does, we got to talk a little bit about human psychology here, is that what this does is it creates a temporary space and urgency. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
should I have one group that opens and closes, or should I have 4 groups that open and close?
I think you should have. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk philosophically, and then we can talk tactically. Okay. So I think philosophically, you should have 4 groups that open and close, because each one of them is going to have a specific timeline. Each one of them is going to have a specific focus. I'm guessing each one is going to, and like one person could go through all 4, or you might have, different people joining at different times. So philosophically, I think there are 4 different groups. They're challenge groups, so they probably have like the same framework and structure. And you invite people from your Relentless Talk Radio Health and Wellness to the group. So like when the group gets set up, or even like the teaser, like, hey, this is coming. Let me know if you want to get invited. Like, hey, this is launched. Click here to join. But again, this is kind of how we keep things separate, but help cross-pollinate. is that we invite people, and this is the other issue with Facebook groups. Do not add people to groups that didn't ask to be added.
Oh, yes.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because the other thing that you do by doing that is that if you get people in there who aren't participating, then you're just like dragging down the whole momentum and energy of the entire group. So
Right.
invite compellingly. Create a group. Yeah.
Let me ask a question about that.
Yeah.
So Relentless Talk Radio is a general benign group. So I invite people to that group and I'll send them a message saying, hey, I just invited you to this group. Welcome to join if you want. Here's the purpose of this group. I've noticed in your blah, blah, blah that you about da, da, da. And I think this would be helpful to you. Feel free to join. Right. This is not a foreign group. This is general. So that group I invite to. But if I'm doing a challenge or I have a group that is specifically product related, that is sales, has a sales component to it, I don't generally invite to those groups because then I'm forcing my product on people, and that's just that's icky.
Yeah.
Who wants to have a product work on their throat?
Exactly. Well, and let's also make a slight differentiation here. When I say invite people from an existing group to a different group, that's like creating a post in there going, right. Hey, this is what's happening. This is why people might be interested from this group. Here's what you can expect from the group. Here's how to join. Mm-hmm. So this framework I learned from Tara Newman is the purpose, the process, and the payoff. It's the why, the how, and what's in it for me. So when we do any type of marketing, but especially invitations, using that framework helps us really convey to people the value. Like, I think sometimes we forget, like when we're too close to it, we forget to connect the dots for people. And we really have to connect the dots for people. Not right. Like, well, duh, you've said for 6 months that you've been trying to do this thing. You haven't done it on your own. So clearly this challenge is for you. Well, we have to do that for them because sometimes right. We're just too much in our own way.
Right. I got it. And and the inviting thing, that's a good point. There's a general invite where you're doing a post somewhere saying, hey, join this. But there's also inviting within the group.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is I will actually send an invite from within the group to a general benign group and I'll send a message saying, hey, I just invited you to this. If it's something you're interested in, feel free to accept the invitation. If not, you can just ignore it.
Right.
Okay. But with the groups that have a specific purpose as a challenge or has a product related to it or is somehow related to my nutrition partner in a very deep interaction kind of way, that's when people have to ask me to join.
Right.
So there's a difference in the purpose of the invitation to join. Like there's a lot of motorcycle groups that are out there right now. I just recently interviewed Motorcycle Princess leader Jennifer Sievers and Phoenix Moto Girls leader Jessica Mose. Now those are just fun. There's nothing about those groups that are salesy. There's nothing. It's just about building community and doing something fun together. So if I have a girlfriend who's a motorcycle person, I'll immediately invite them to those two groups and invite them to Biker Chicks Unite. And I won't necessarily send them a message because the reason to invite them is to invite them into a fun community. It's like inviting me for a drink or inviting somebody out for lunch or, come to this party. I'm having this open party. Come to this party. I'm okay with inviting that way if the purpose is literally pure community and it's just about having fun together, education. There is a product, a business purpose to it. It's like spamming somebody. Don't spam people. Don't send people emails. There's one woman who I met in a networking group that shall remain nameless because I don't want to out the person. No, when they listen, but and she's in the real estate industry, and I've unsubscribed to her email 8 times. Like you didn't ask me, you're just sending me this stuff, and I'm getting like 10 a week, So, and honestly, if she'd asked me, I probably would have said yes. You know what I mean? Of course I'll support you. But because she's literally ignoring the fact that she hasn't asked me and I'm not interested. It's now I'm on like relentlessly on a. She goes right to junk mail. She lost me as a potential advocate because she didn't respect the boundary. So you want to avoid that. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. For sure. So did you have to, so we've talked about, you've got new challenge groups coming up. Right. What about your existing groups? Are you making any changes to that? Because I think the one thing I want to touch on before we're done is group engagement. This is not the field of dreams, people. You don't just build it and they come. Like, you have to actively not only get people in, but get them to engage.
So one of the things that I've been working on, and I've had a tremendous amount of change in my life recently, so it's been an ongoing big, heavy bear, is that I'm building a Airtable with all of my groups so that I know I'm Monday and Tuesday, I have a time block that goes into building out scheduled posts in all of my groups. Everyone is being touched and loved at the same time, so nobody feels ghosted. Right. That's what happens when we don't mean to make people feel that way or to make groups feel that way or lose the engagement or momentum, but we busy and we forget, oh, I haven't posted in there for a while. So like one of the things I'm recently doing is in my page, which is not a group, page, the art and fashion, I'm going to be reposting all of the work that I have that is still available for sale. In group for the Relentless Art, I'm posting memories of shows I had in the past, and I'm on a regular basis just touching those people. Because I'm not currently developing my art, and I'm not currently doing big pieces of art, but things that I will be doing and I will be sharing in my group, my page, is some small colors that I'll be doing as part of my Miracle Morning practice in the morning where that's a way I made work. So if you look behind me, this little piece back here is a journal page. So I'll be sharing those regularly, not with the intention of really doing that piece of my business, but staying engaged with that part of my business while on hold. So that's a piece like, you might be on hold as far as generating income or doing anything massive, but continue to touch those people and have them feel like you haven't disappeared is important. Now, Biker Chicks Unite, Micalizzi Rides page. So Biker Chicks is a group, and it's just women. And my Micalizzi Rides page is a co-ed place where I'm posting rides. I'm doing some initiatives with Biker Chicks Unite. A new Relentless Talk Radio special edition will air impromptu. This is how bikers like to do it. It's called Biker Chicks Unite Coffee Lot Conversations. So parking lot coffee conversations. So one of my favorite things in the whole world to do is to just ride around and have just enough to like get where I'm going, have a cup of tea in some parking lot somewhere. And I love having conversations with strangers in parking lots. I know that sounds a little weird, but it's true. And if I have a small group of bikers with me, it's going to be up to 3. So it'll be me and 2 other women. Having you guys join in conversation. It's just a random off-topic conversation that invites you into the biker culture without exposing. I've made an agreement with my mom not to do big group rides this year. So how do I build community in the biker culture that is all about together without being physically available? So Biker Chicks Unite parking lot conversations is that answer. In that group, and I'll be posting on Relentless Talk Radio. So those are 2 examples of, I have several groups, we couldn't go all of the time constraints, but those are 2 examples of things doing to keep those groups activated while I'm focusing on my important group right now, which is Choose Healthy Change page, and creating the 4 groups that'll be temporary, and then continuing to build structure with the folks that come on board and Choose Healthy Change as a group, so that I can continue to put more value into people that have chosen to come on board with me on that level. So that makes sense?
Right. Yes. And then one last thing is that those temporary groups, like at the end, you invite those people to the larger group setting. So like you don't just like, you get them into the fold. Like you get them, if they're, maybe they're already part of the Choose Healthy Change, they come into the challenge, great. But if they're like new to the challenge, then you roll them into the community at large, so that then they are a part of the, oh, here's the next challenge, here's the next thing. They can also, like, inside of the challenge, you can invite them to the next level. So maybe they want to, become part of the pro group. Maybe they want to, like, do something more, but you always want to make sure, don't leave anybody hanging, like, loop them back in.
100%. And, on my personal profile, I've started to post more fitness related things. I can't believe this. Ms. Health and Fitness invited me to compete cover. One of my friends nominated me. I said, well, why not? I put in my nomination. I got accepted. And I'm in my group right now, which is crazy. It's down from 40. It's nutty because I'm 53 and those girls are like little peanuts, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of like, wow, how cool is that? Totally unexpected. But what's cool about it also is that at this point, I'm not really expecting to win, but the major focus of that competition is Homes for Wounded Warriors. So really my focus is on helping me raise as much money before one of the youngsters kicks me out, right? But what's cool is by putting about fitness, it's letting my bigger 7,000 people or so that follow me personally on Facebook know, hey, this is my lead thing right now. Fitness is my lead thing. Posting from the gym, I'm sharing about the competition. People are surprisingly excited about it. I'm kind of like, well, whatever. But it's And then I'm also my top 10 lessons that I've been doing on a weekly basis. I'll take a little bit of a break, a little personal hiatus for a second, but I posted one the other day that's gotten like 400 views. So I do live videos, but in those live videos, I invite people to engage with me deeper, depending upon what level they want to engage, either with Choose Healthy Change or Relentless Talk Radio's Health and Fitness group. I invite people in. So I'm weaving everything together with everything that I'm doing, because I never know how people are going to see me.
Right.
And then I'm also personally messaging people and saying, hey, I don't know, like, if this is for you or not, but if you'd like to join me here, join me here. I don't know if this is for you or not, but I've got this going on and this going on, this little event. You're welcome to attend if you want. If not, no big deal.
Right.
I'm here for you. So you're just engaging with people multiple ways.
100%. Right on.
So we did actually talk about a tool earlier. We talked about the Mighty Networks. Did you have another tool you want to share with us?
So I don't think I've shared this before, but this is one of those things that once I found it, I'm like, I have no idea how I lived without this. I don't know how other people function if they don't know about this thing. There's actually several different apps that do this functionality, and the functionality is called a Clipboard Manager. So when you copy something and then paste it, and then you copy something else, like, you only have one thing that can be on your clipboard at a time. Well, a Clipboard Manager changes that, and it gives you access to anything you've ever copied. So I can copy like a ton of things and then go somewhere else and then paste them all if I'm using a Clipboard Manager.
So it's kind of like, oh my God.
I love it. I'm like,
you're a complete goober nerd. I'm just telling you. So it's kind of like my mile tracker. I have mile IQ on my phone. That every time I get in my car, it tracks the mile, and then I go back when I remember on a monthly basis and allocate what are personal and what are private. So at the end of the year, I have a list of how many miles I've driven without having to actually write it in a little notebook like I used to, which I constantly forgot. Yes. So this is the same thing. Like Mile IQ is an example, or Hurdler is another example. I'm using Hurdler right now because it's part of my business partner allows me to use Hurdler for free, which is awesome, right?
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Cool? So, but what it does is it's a tracking device on my car, basically, and it's password protected where only I can see it, and it allows me to track that stuff. So there's a second tool, entrepreneurs, if you're traveling at all. Right. So what's the one that you like?
So Clipboard Manager, if you're using Windows, the one that I like is called Ditto, Ditto. It's free. It's a little download. It just runs. And then I hit Control, then the tilde, the little wavy thing, to access my Clipboard Manager. It's searchable. So like if last week I copied something, I know, right? And last week I copied up something like, what was that thing? And then I can just start searching and it will come up. Like it remembers. It's like another brain. It remembers everything that I've copied. And then if you have iOS,
which is Mac,
or Mac or iPhone, Paste. It's called Paste, like super, easily branded. Paste, like copy paste. So I use Paste on my phone because if I copy something on my phone, then I also have the Paste app on my iPad. And so it's available both places.
For those of you who are geeks like we are, Brandy, this is why I love you, Brandy. You make me feel less crazy. I hope I do that for you a little bit, just a little. Yeah, that's really awesome. Thank you for that share. It's really awesome.
Yes, once you start using it, you'll be like, how did I live without this? This is so, because I know if you like even a username password, like, so you copy your username and then you go paste it and you come back and you copy your password. No, you just copy both of them and then you can go paste both of them, like Clipboard Manager. Do it.
So here's a recommendation. Like I have a reminders section on my phone. I have an iPhone, have whatever you people have that are based or Android or whatever. It tells me a book or a tool. I have a reminder with a little circle there that says I've actually done something with it, that I just pop it in there. So that I can go back later, because people are giving me great ideas all the time. I get books all the time. People say, go read Win-Win, go read. And I'm like, I remember like where my hat is and where my keys are. I remember that. So if someone gives you a really great idea, like maybe this is a great idea for you right now, go to your reminders on your phone and put a list of things. And in fact, Brandy, I wanted to talk with people before we close about Go Digital Faster. So all of the episodes that Brandy and I are doing for Digital Evolution, an Entrepreneur's Guide to Evolving Online, and Scott Yang and I are doing for the Video Lab, an Entrepreneur Guide to Creating Video, are going into a master learning space called Go Digital Faster. We're in the process of building lead page and a really awesome takeaway if you sign up for the email list. So stay tuned. We will let you know more about that as we build it. But we will be taking all of the episodes we're putting in continually and giving new content continually. And in that tool that we're creating, I think we should have a tools library.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The tools that we're all recommending, we can put in there and we can add so that people can not have to they can just go there as opposed to creating a reminder. So keep your eye out for that. And there'll be added tools, like we'll be creating worksheets for all the episodes so that you can learn and apply them. So if you're interested in godigitalfaster.com, you can private message me and I will make sure that you get on the email list if you do this. If not, just keep your eyes open. The other thing is that you can definitely, if everything we just said sounds like Swahili, and you're just like, you know what, I'm lost, tell me more. You can go to meetwithmick.com. Meet with Kim, where did that come from? Meetwithmick.com, and you can book a free consultation with Brandy and I, and we will kind of go over, your digital evolution and see how we can help. So meetwithmick.com, you're going to choose a digital evolution consultation, and that's it. And the other thing is, if you haven't already put this on your calendar, you need to go into your calendar and put digital evolution in there on the first and third Thursday, where we're always live, but you can always come back and do a replay, watch the replay. And there's a playlist on Facebook that is all the digital evolutions and all the video labs. So you can just go through and listen to them one by one. This is the 11th episode. Or you can go to youtube.relentlesstalkradio.com, and there's a playlist there as well. So really you can have us both ways. And we'll be going to IGTV pretty regularly too. So
boom.
Awesome. So any closing comments, Brandy? As we've gone a little bit over, but that's okay.
No, I think just the community is a big part of creating outreach marketing at this point when you have something that's very mission-based. So, and then how you do it is just depends on your community. Think of them first and think of how to serve them.
I think it brings up a good point. When I was at social media marketing world last year in San Diego, something was said that just so stuck with me. Like, you don't need 50 million followers.
Nope.
how many customers do you want or need to sustain your life mission and dream? You don't need 50 million. You need whatever your number is, 10, 15, 20. So you only need those people in your community to drink the Kool-Aid that is you, okay? So focus on individuals as opposed to the numbers. I think sometimes we get caught in, how many YouTube followers you have. I have crap YouTube followers right now. I plan on having 20,000 so I can get advertising in it, but my YouTube was created as a relationship builder. So you really want to make sure that you're focusing on the individual human being and not the numbers, because it's not about having 50 million customers necessarily. It's about having the amount of customers that you need to have in order to fulfill your life mission.
100%.
All right, so I will see you on the first Thursday I'll see you before then, but we will see everybody here on the first Thursday in September. And we'll be talking about, taking a look at, what are we talking about then? We're talking about messenger streams. Awesome.
Yep.
A really important topic. All right, guys, I hope you all have a great day. Sorry we went about 11 minutes over, but it was all valuable information. Thanks a lot, Brandy, for your time. I love you.
Yeah.
Big rock. And we will have a different hat next week.
Yep.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.